Presenting the Piano of Death, tonight's Midnight Theater.
My name is not important, and for many years I was a chief superintendent in the British London Police. I stand here at Scotland Yard in their infamous famous museum you may have heard of, called the Black Museum, a repository of death. Here, in the grim stone structure softened only by an old chaise longue, a table for my brandy glass, and a pair of scatter cushions, is a nightmare hoard of implements for murder. Everyday objects. A crumpled newspaper, a tin of beans, a half-used eraser with one side for ink and the other for pencil, a machete. All are touched by murder. You see this? It looks like any common or garden upright drawing-room piano, doesn't it? But here, underneath, wheels. Oiled wheels. This piano is capable of rapid movement. The owner of this instrument has turned it into a piano of death. Before my time, but I can remember my old sergeant talking of it as he stirred my tea one cold winter morning. A crime from another era, an era of polished carriages, well-groomed horses, simple, sedate living, Edwardian England. And the owner of this piano, Sonia Rosegarden, owner of the piano of death. Sonia, my dear.
Shh, Colin, darling, I'm playing for you.
Yes. Sonia, you've got to listen. Sonia, I love you. You're adorable.
Oh, I can't reach the F sharp if you stand there.
Let me.
Thank you. And on that farm he had a cow.
Sonia, my darling, will you marry me?
Oh, yes, Colin. With a moo-moo here and a moo-moo there. Here a moo, there a moo, everywhere a moo-moo. Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O.
Darling. The church organ, not Sonia's piano, played them up the aisle that June. They were quite happy, quite domestic, particularly on quiet spring evenings. You're looking very well tonight, Sonia.
Thank you, dear.
You haven't played your piano lately. Where is it?
Oh, somewhere. I forget. Anything of interest in the newspaper, Colin?
No. Crosswords a bit tricky. I've got 3 up and 2 down, but I'm blowed if I can work out 6 across.
What is it?
Well, it's a sort of word puzzle, a series of clues to words that fit together.
It sounds dreadfully complicated for my little brain.
I love your little brain just the way it is.
Oh, Colin. Darling? I wonder if you'd mind.
Something you want, my sweet?
Well, Jessie's gone to her room, and I hate to disturb her.
Let me get it for you, whatever it is.
Thank you. It's just that,
Yes?
Well, you may think it's a little odd, but, well, I have this funny desire for a piece of coal.
A piece of coal? You have a sudden desire to eat coal?
Mad, isn't it?
No, not at all. Do you mean, do you think, does this...
Oh, I don't know. Let's not run away with ourselves. Let me try some coal first, and if I keep it down, well, who knows?
I shall get some immediately, darling.
Is there any in the scuttle? No, dear. That's just it. It means a trip for you. Down to the cellar.
Not another word. It's my pleasure to serve you, my dear. The husband gets up and puts his newspaper aside. He leaves the room where his pretty young wife sits by the fireside. He walks down the hallway to the cellar entrance, pausing on the way to pick up a candle from the table by the stairs. He lights the candle and opens the little doorway. The candle flickers, casting a fitful yellow light, darkening the shadows where its beams fail to penetrate. Colin Rosegarden starts down the stairs.
Colin! Answer me. Jessie, help me. Mr. Rosegarden has fallen over the piano. The piano, miss? Now answer me truthfully, Jessie. Did you leave my piano at the top of the cellar stairs? I shan't be cross. No, madam. You liar! It must have been you. Colin wouldn't have done this deliberately, unless... No, not Colin. He would never take the easy way out. Is he? Go quickly. Run for Dr. Tetley. But it's miles then. Run!
It must have been a terrible shock, Mrs. Rosegarden. Perhaps if you take a sleeping powder.
No, Doctor. It was my fault, you see, my silly wish for a piece of coal. The least I can do is to face my grief. It's the least I can do is to lie awake tonight and think of poor Colin, and the piano, and the coal.
Coal? Am I to assume a happy...
No, sadly no. It was a false alarm. I'll never want to eat a piece of coal again.
Oh, now, don't be so hasty. Death's a terrible thing when it comes to one so young. But you've your whole life before you.
Yes, I have, haven't I?
3 days later, a verdict of accidental death was reached by the coroner, and the following day the funeral took place.
I say, my dear, as a close friend of both you and your late husband and yourself, I feel justified in asking you to contain your grief. After all, you're young, and if I may say so, pretty.
Norris, how sweet of you. I simply do not know how I would have got through this horrible funeral without poor dear Colin's friends, particularly you.
This brings me to a point, my dear. I'd meant to discuss it with you even before Colin died, but it didn't seem quite right then. Even now, perhaps it's too soon.
What, Norris, what?
I begin to feel something slightly about you more than respect. If I may take the liberty, Sonia.
Oh, Norris. Of course, after we're married.
3 weeks of happy bliss for the happy couple. But one thing disturbs Norris Bellwether.
Where's your upright, darling? You never play it any more.
No, I've put it away. I can't bear to look at it. Not since Colin was crushed under it.
I understand. But even so, it's one of the reasons I fell in love with you. Your beautiful playing. I wonder if tomorrow, when Tom and Betty come over for tea, you might play us a little something?
Well, if you really want me to.
What man wouldn't?
You'll have to fetch it up for me. It's in the cellar.
Righto. First thing in the morning.
If the wood is going to settle, it should really be at room temperature, and it's so cold in the cellar. Perhaps you ought to bring it up now.
Now?
If you want me to play tomorrow.
I suppose you don't have to.
If you don't like my playing all of a sudden, Norris, just say so.
No, of course I want you to. I shan't be a minute.
Once again, the young man lights his way through a dark house towards a steep stairway by the flickering flame of a candle. Once again, the young man makes his way along a carpeted hallway and starts a hurried descent of wooden stairs.
Norris? Norris, what happened?
It's all right, Jessie. Your mistress will rest now. This time she agreed to take a sedative.
Oh, the poor woman. She's so distraught, my poor, poor lady.
Poor? This will be the second fortune she inherits. She's hardly poor.
2 accidents like that, Doctor. It's like that she's accursed.
Aye, it is. Well, things like this happen, as you say, 2 accidents and so much alike. I shall probably recommend that your mistress builds herself a new house with no cellar, all on 1 floor. Well, I'm on my way. No visitors allowed until tomorrow, Jessie. Nor for Mrs. Bellwether either.
Oh, Malcolm, I never thought I'd find love again. Oh, Derek, I never thought I'd find love again. Will I ever find love again, Nigel?
I'm sure you will. You must. You're too good to waste.
Quite. I miss Eric so much.
Eric?
Derek.
Oh, yes. My oldest friend. Listen, Sonia, call me an old rich fool if you like, with more money than sense. But,
Oh, yes, of course I shall if you want me to.
I know it's only been a few hours, but do you think you could ever consent to be my wife?
Saturday? 3:30, you mean?
Do I?
Yes.
Oh, well, yes. Our first night together in our house. I'm so glad we decided not to go away. What is it, dear?
Oh, these sheets are icy. It must be really cold outside, and you're so susceptible to colds.
Am I?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'll soon warm us up.
But, darling, don't you think we ought to have a hot water bottle?
Hot water bottle?
Yes, but don't disturb Jessie, will you? She worked so hard cooking and serving dinner.
All right, if you really think so. But do you know where one is?
Yes, in the kitchen cabinet, dear, right in front.
Oh, I'd better take a candle.
And use the back stairs, darling. It'll be quicker for you.
Good heavens, what's your piano doing here? Come in.
You sent for me, Inspector?
I did, Peck. You can stop knocking on the door now.
Thank you, sir.
What do you make of this? It's an anonymous letter.
Anonymous, sir?
Yes. Read it, will you?
Yes, sir. Inspector Digley, don't file this letter in the waste paper basket.
Mm-hmm.
It's a funny thing to say, sir. Shall I chuck it away, sir?
There's more on the other side.
Oh, I cannot let you have my name as yet, but think of this. To date, 8 young men of wealth and standing in the community have died under a piano. The same piano, what's more. Don't you think at least a perfunctory investigation is called for? Don't you think so? And it's signed a well-wisher. A perfunctory investigation sounds a lot of work, sir. Accidents do happen.
Indeed. But I don't take kindly to people sending me unsigned anonymous letters. We must track down this person, Sergeant, and charge them with wasting police time.
Yes, sir. How, sir?
The writer hints he or she will come forward if we find out something about this Sonia Quigley. So, wear your best suit tomorrow. You and I are going calling on a young widow in Oxford Street. As soon as Anonymous hears that, we'll think we're doing something and contact us again.
Right, sir. Then we'll have 'em.
Oh, I'm so glad you came to see me, Inspector.
Thank you. It's not too often police are welcome.
Oh, I suppose not. But, you see, I can't help hearing about the things that people are saying. Jessie brings home so many odd tales.
Really? This Jessie? Much of a writer, is she?
Not that I know of.
Sergeant, leave that alone.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, Mum. I do like to tickle the ivories. It's a fine-looking instrument you've got there, Mum.
Yes, but I shall never play it again.
Oh, why not?
All 8 of my husbands love to hear me play. I cannot play it now without hearing the accompaniment of their screams.
Could someone else scream for you?
What?
What?
She means they screamed as they fell down the stairs, and it brings back those terrible memories. Isn't that right, Ma'am?
Quite right, Inspector. You're a very sensitive man. I'm sure your wife is always saying so.
Why, thank you. I'm not married for some reason.
Really? Oh.
Look, Ma'am, I'll come clean. Do you recognise the writing in this note?
It's libel!
Who's he, Mum? Another one of your husbands?
I mean, I've never seen this writing before in my life.
Well, that's good enough for me.
What now, sir?
We play it slow. Maybe ask her out for a meal. Trip to a musical, perhaps. She's a fine-looking woman.
This is a surprise, Mrs. I'm sorry I've lost track.
Just call me Sonia, Dr. Tetley. We know each other well enough by now.
Aye, that's true. Well, Sonia, people don't usually call on me with a piano.
Oh, this. I forgot I was wheeling it. Listen, Dr. Tetley. People are saying terrible things about me.
Who?
I don't know. But they imply that the deaths of my poor husbands were not entirely accidental.
What a preposterous notion! As the presiding doctor in all the cases, I can confirm that they definitely happened by the accidental fall of a piano. That piano there, that you've brought with you today to my surgery.
Silly old thing. It does have a habit of falling on people, doesn't it? I'd hate it to fall on anyone else.
Oh, I'm sure it's not going to do that, Mrs.
Gibshaw. No, Hardy.
Ah, 7 or 8 husbands dead. A piano falling on them every time. I'm not a fool. You, Mrs. Hardy,
Yes?
show signs of being a very poor judge of character. You keep picking clumsy men.
Oh, yes, I do.
So accident-prone.
Yes.
Clumsy accidents don't happen to me.
No.
Well, don't forget your piano.
Oh, I shan't. I've a feeling I will be needing it again quite soon. I have a new friend, you see. He loves to hear me play.
The doctor was indeed no fool. He had suspected her from the 5th murder, and now realized he must act swiftly if there were not to be another tragic fatality. Another anonymous letter to the police, sir.
Let me say, just, she's playing tonight at 8 o'clock. This is your chance. I seem to remember, Sergeant, that Mrs. Hardy told us she would never touch the instrument again.
The gossip, sir, all the talk, the nasty suspicious minds.
What's that you're holding?
Oh, it's one of the piano keys. It came away in my hand, sir.
Give it here.
Yes, sir.
Not your hand, the piano key.
Oh, right, sir.
What a dainty little thing it is. Like ivory.
Thank you, sir. I use a special end cream. Swinging the truncheon don't half chafe.
Yes, you must give me the name of it. Meanwhile, let me have that piano key. No blood on it.
Should there be, sir?
Well, it did fall on top of all her husbands.
Perhaps she cleaned it.
In between the grooves? No, that might spoil the tone. No self-respecting pianist would do that. Pass me that anonymous letter again.
The anonymous one, sir?
Yes. Aha! You know what this means, Constable?
Yes, sir. No, sir.
It's a vendetta. This poor woman is maligned for the last time. I shall turn up there unannounced and surprise her.
Shall I turn up unannounced and surprise her too, sir?
No. You go home.
Go home?
Yes. At 8 o'clock tonight, with a perfect excuse to return the piano key, I shall arrive unexpectedly, as Mr. Anonymous Letter reveals himself when he tries to frame that poor innocent woman for murder.
Little did the inspector know that the author of the anonymous notes had suspected Sonia since her third murder, and has slowly been gathering proof. Meanwhile, someone now is hiding in the very piano itself, the piano which is about, perhaps, to commit another murder at 8 o'clock. But who is the victim? And will the inspector arrive in time?
Inspector? How nice. All right, Jessie. Yes, fine, thank you, madam. I mean, you can go. Oh, yes, madam. Allow me to introduce a good friend of mine. This is Clifford Prentice.
Pleased to meet you, sir.
Inspector!
Was there something you wanted, Inspector?
Yes. This piano key, ma'am. Took it by mistake.
Oh, thank you. I'll be needing it.
Needing it, ma'am?
Inspector, I'm afraid you've caught me in a fib. Is that very bad?
I can't imagine it's bad if it's you, darling.
I don't quite follow, Mrs.
Well, I told you some time ago I'd never play the piano again, and, well, I've been persuaded to.
I see. Well, there must be a good reason, I assume?
Oh, there is. This is the happiest day of my life. You tell him, Clifford, dear.
Well, yet it happens. We're both very, very happy. Music seemed extremely apropos. You see, Mrs.
Hardy.
Sonia has done me the honour to consent to be my wife.
The inspector remembered that the piano would strike again tonight at 8 o'clock. But surely...
You're not married yet, though? No. We were going to this afternoon, but unfortunately...
I said she simply must have Mummy's ring. It's a family heirloom. It's just taking a bit longer than anticipated to get Mummy to part with it.
Then there's still time.
Don't marry her!
What is the meaning of this, Inspector? What are you suggesting? Are you implying Clifford might be in some danger marrying me?
Danger?
Of course not. But you're too good for him, Mrs. Marry me!
You?
Me!
You? You?
Who said that?
It was the piano that spoke. No, it can't be. They've come back to haunt me. It's a judgment.
There's somebody inside.
Oh, sorry. Carry on.
It's me!
Dr. Tetley.
Dr. Tetley, and I don't even know him.
What are you doing in my piano?
Trying to prevent another death.
Then come out, man, before you suffocate. It must be airtight in there.
Fortunately, the missing piano key left a tiny hole for ventilation.
Damn you, Tetley. You're trying to ruin everything.
This is the happiest day of her life.
Be quiet, Frank.
Clifford. Well, it all makes sense now.
I deny everything. You can't prove a thing.
Tetley, you wrote those anonymous letters. I am arresting you for confusing policemen.
Oh, the letters. Yes, quite right.
I wrote no notes. What notes?
My notes.
Mummy?
Yes. As soon as you told me you wanted to marry this woman, I looked her up at the town library. She and her piano have been busy. I shan't let you be the next husband she kills. This has gone far enough. Sometimes a lady has to realize when it's time to make a clean breast of things.
A clean breast?
Yes.
Sonia crossed to a side door and opened it, revealing steep steps to the cellar below.
I always keep them here.
she returned to the piano.
Time for a tune.
As her hands played over the keyboard, she pushed the piano forward, and the deadly instrument began its remorseless progress towards the inspector, Clifford, and his mother. Helplessly, Dr. Tetley tried to escape, but the piano was moving too fast. It seemed nothing could save them from horrific death.
Excuse me, sir, did you want me to burst in unexpectedly or not?
Close the door, you fool! The draft! Ah!
Suddenly the piano veered off its course, and as the assembled party leapt out of the way, Sonia herself found herself trapped in its unstoppable path.
You know what this means, don't you, Constable Peck?
No, sir.
You're a hero, that's what. You've saved us all. Exactly, Peck. What this means is I have saved the day again.
Oh, bravo!
Well done. Aye.
Sonia Hardy, etc., 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 survived just, and she was tried for murder. The police stated facts and produced evidence, but Sonia wept and lifted those blue eyes of hers to heaven, and the jury disagreed. She was not convicted. Not in court, but she was convicted by her neighbors and her friends. They knew, and so Sonia moved away, far north, alone, and there she died some 20 years later, still alone, while the piano remains here in the Black Museum, on top of these stairs, a reminder perhaps of how simple touch could send the thing rolling forward, condemning another innocent man to certain death.
You have been listening to the Piano of Death. If you have a piano in your house, make sure you lock it securely. Until next time, good night.